Okay guys, so in this lesson we're going to talk about law of sines. So the law of sines deals with opposite angles and opposite sides. So we're going to use law of sines a lot for scalene triangles. Okay, so remember that a scalene triangle, the angles and the sides are not congruent. Okay, so just a brief notation review. If we have a scalene triangle, the angles are written as capital letters, and the sides that are opposite the angle are lowercase letters. Okay, so law of sine says that the sine of A over A is equal to sine of B over B, which is equal to sine of C over C. It'll make more sense when we actually start doing example problems. So let's jump right in. You need to make sure your calculator is in degrees for these problems. You can do them in both radians or degrees, but for this, I think we're all in degrees on these problems. Okay, so what we're going to do is we always locate a pair of angles and sides that we have so we can set up a proportion. Okay, so we have 42 degrees and we have the 17 that's opposite of that. So we're going to say sine of 42 degrees over 17. I'm looking for x, which is an angle, so sine of x over 22. Because the 22 is opposite of that angle. Now what we're going to do is cross multiply and divide. Okay? I'm not going to show these steps out every single time, so make sure you pay attention to this and how I do it quickly. So we're going to cross multiply 22 sine of 42 is equal to 17 sine of x. So basic cross multiplication. Now we want to solve for x, so we have to isolate this trig, so we're going to divide both sides by 17. Okay, so we're going to put that in our calculator. So 22 sine of 42 divided by 17. Okay, so we get 0.8659. Now, we're looking for an angle, right? So we have to use inverse trig. So inverse sine of the answer, and I get 59.989. Okay, and we're in degrees. Now, the way I would have done this in the calculator real quick, and you'll get quicker at this. So we're going to do 22 times sine of 42 in the calculator. We're going to divide by 17. And then we're going to inverse sine it. And we'll get the answer. Okay? So you need to be able to cross multiply quickly, not only for this, but for SAT stuff. Okay, so in this question, I have the 88 and I have the 44. They're opposite one another, so they're going to start off my law of sines. Okay, I want to find x right here, right? But I need the angle that's opposite this. So what are the angles of a triangle add up to? Well, they should add up to 180. So I can find that missing angle. So 180 minus 35 minus 88. So this angle is actually 57 degrees. Okay, so I do sine of 57 degrees all over x. So I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So 44 times sine of 57. Okay, and then I'm going to divide by sine of 88. And I get my answer is 36.924. Okay, and that's going to be millimeters because we're in millimeters. Right here. Okay, next example problem. Okay, so I have this side opposite, I have that one. So we're ready to go. So sine of 51 degrees, and the side opposite that angle is 9.4, is equal to sine of x all over 6. Okay, so I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So we're going to do 6 times sine of 51 divided by 9.4. And since I'm trying to find an angle, I'm going to inverse sine that and get 29.739. And I'm in degrees. Okay, next one. I have this angle, the side opposite of that, so sine of 67 degrees over 12 is equal to sine of x over 13, because they're opposite one another. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to do 13 sine of 67 divided by 12. And since I'm looking for an angle, I'm going to do inverse sine. The answer is, so I get 85.722. Okay, next one. So I'm looking for this, and I have this given side. I can find this angle by doing 180 minus. Okay, so the angles of triangle add up to 180. So 180 minus 48 minus 61 gives me an angle of 71 degrees. So I'm going to do sine of 71 degrees over 21 is equal to sine of 61 degrees over x. Now we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we're going to do sine 21 sine of 61. And we're going to divide by sine of 71. And I get 19.425. Okay. And we're going to be in centimeters, because we're finding that length of that side is centimeters. Okay. There's a lot of problems. Okay. Next one. Remember, the angles of a triangle add up to be 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and do that since we have two angles given. So 180 minus 118 minus 52 is 10 degrees. Okay, so we're going to set up our proportion. We'll say sine of 52 over 45 is equal to sine of 10 degrees over x. So we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we'll do 45 sine of 10 divided by sine of 52, and I get 9.916 meters. Okay, in this section, it says that we're going to find all the missing sides and angles. Okay, so we're going to be using law of sines maybe multiple times. Okay, so anytime I'm given two of the angles, let's go ahead and find the third one. So 180 minus 51 minus 71. Oops. So you should get 58 degrees. Okay, so I have all the angles. Now I got to find all the missing sides. So we're going to say sine of 71 degrees over 9.8 is equal to, let's do this side first. Sine of 58 over, we'll call this x. Okay. So we're going to cross multiply and divide, so we get 9.8 sine of 58 divided by sine of 71. You get 8.790. So we'll do 8.790. Okay, and we'll call this side y, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to use the same side of the proportion when I do this multiple times. There's no use in changing it. Okay, so sine of 51, and y is opposite that side. So I'm going to cross multiply and divide. So I do 9.8 times sine of 51 divided by sine of 71. And I get 8.055. So if someone says complete the triangle, it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, you're finding all the sides and angles. Okay, next one. So I have two of the angles. So we'll do 180 minus 84 minus 42. And you get 54 degrees. So we have these opposite pairs, so we'll call this one x and we'll call that one y. Okay, so let's do x first. So we'll do sine of 84 degrees over 1 is over 50, sorry, is equal to sine of 54 over x. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we'll do 50 sine of 54 divided by sine of 84. And we get 40.674. And that's going to be meters. Okay, and let's find y now. So we're going to keep this side of the portion. And we're going to do sine of 42 to y. Now we're going to cross multiply. And divide it by sine of 84. And we get 33.64. .641. And we're going to be meters. Okay, so this one, we have this pair and this side. So probably what we're going to do is we need to find this angle first, okay? Since those are our opposite pairs. So we'll say sine of 98 degrees over 17.5 is equal to sine of x over 15. So since we're finding an angle, we're going to have to use inverse trig when we cross multiply. So we'll do 15 sine of 98 divided by 17.5. And then we're going to inverse sine it to find that angle. Okay, so we get 58.082. And we're in degrees. Now, we know that the angles of a triangle add up to be 180. Okay, so we'll do 180 minus that answer minus 98, and we get your third angle is 23.918. Okay, so that's what that angle is right there. Okay, last three problems we're going to do. Okay, so the total number of degrees, sorry. So the total number of degrees in a triangle is going to be 180 degrees. So we're going to do 180 minus 22 minus 39, and we get that this angle is 119 degrees. So I have to find the remaining missing sides. So this is going to be my opposite pair right here. We can call this X and we can call this Z in this case because they deal with X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we're going to say sine of 119 over 29 is equal to sine of 22 over X. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply with our calculator. 29 sine of 22 divided by sine of 119. And we get 12.421. And we're millimeters. I might have forgot my units on some of those, sorry. And then we gotta find Z, this third side. So we're gonna keep this side because we already have that known. So we'll say sine of 39 degrees. And we got Z down there. So we'll say 29 sine of 39 divided by sine of 119. And we get 20.867. That's going to be millimeters. Like that. Okay, hopefully you are getting the hang of this. So on this one, we have this pair. What we're going to do is we're going to find this angle first, so I'll call this X. So we're going to say sine of 115 over 13 is equal to sine of X over 8. And we're going to cross multiply. So remember, anytime we're trying to find an angle, we're going to have to use inverse trig. So we do 8 times sine of 115. And we're going to divide it by 13. And then we're going to inverse sine it. So you get 35.899. Wait, 33, sorry. 33.899 degrees. Now remember that the angles of a triangle add up to be 180. So we're going to do 180 minus 115. Minus 33.899, and you get 31.101 degrees. Okay. And last one. So we have this pair right here. We need to find measure of angle O first. We'll call that X. Okay, so we'll do sine of 62 degrees. Sine of 62 degrees over 31 is equal to sine of X over 28. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, but you cross multiply first the ones you have the numbers for, okay? So 28 times sine 62, and we're gonna divide it by 31. And then since we're finding an angle, we're gonna inverse sine it. So we get X is equal to 52.892 degrees. Now remember that the angles of a triangle add up to be 180 degrees. So we'll do 180 minus the answer, minus 62, and you get 65.108. Okay. So this has been Law of Sine. Sorry, I didn't realize how lengthy I had made these example problems. But it's good that you get to practice doing this stuff. You see this a lot whenever you're dealing with vectors in physics and engineering stuff. You'll use Law of Sines. UIL, you'll use this for me. So it's always good to get a little bit of extra practice on this stuff. So if If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks, and have a good afternoon.